What's up, everyone? Welcome to TMV Gaming, and let's talk about these new rumors and speculations and allegations of a potential new PlayStation Portable coming from Sony. Before we dive into that, let's talk about PlayStation, because what I have to say and what we're going to discuss about PlayStation ties into whether or not I think Sony should or even will make another handheld. So, PlayStation. It's no longer just a set-top box that plays a certain selection of video games. It's a service. You have the PS4 and PS4 Pro occupying the home console space, you have VR in the VR business, but you also have PlayStation Now streaming PS3 and PS4 games to select Windows PCs and PS4 systems, with PS1 and PS2 games coming soon. You have PlayStation Vue offering a cable service replacement for many users out there. You have PlayStation Video, which allows you to access your movies across all your PlayStation systems, whether it be PS3, 4, PlayStation Portable, or even PS Vita. You have PlayStation Music, which is powered by Spotify, which allows you to stream your personal choice of music to your system of choice. You also have PlayStation Network, which is tying and provides you with all of the content that these systems and services provide. The one business that PlayStation isn't very prosperous in globally is the portable business, and for a slightly good reason. When we look at Vita in Japan, it's a smash hit. It's doing great. All of the AAA games coming to Vita that are being localized in the West are coming from Japan. So, and even in Sony Interactive Entertainment Japan's website, you still see Vita being marketed right up there with the PS4 and the PSVR. So in Japan, it's a smash hit. But in the West, it didn't do so well. Now, that's because in the West, Sony of America really never stood by PlayStation Vita. They released it, and ho-hum, yeah, here's some games, here's a brief marketing campaign, and as soon as 2013 rolled around, when PS4, they fucking dropped that thing like a safe. Now, as a result, it's not doing good, but even at launch, there were some questionable decisions made by the higher-ups at Sony. The biggest one was the proprietary memory cards, which were so expensive. And even these days, they cost about half as much as the system. So, that being said, Vita still has some great games. Now, I have to say, I'm a Vita fan. I don't like handhelds, but for whatever reason, I fell in love with Vita despite it being a commercial failure in the West. But I don't think that's how Sony should end their foray in the portable business. I think they were certainly onto something. When Vita came out, it was the state of the art. It was certainly a powerhouse of a handheld. They just didn't support it the way they should have. They just didn't implement standard micro SD cards for storage the way they perhaps should have. But looking at today, I think Sony should opt for a handheld because although PS4 is selling well, not everyone's a console gamer. Which brings me to my next point. Should they release a portable? I'm going to answer that as a yes with an asterisk mark. Now, what do I mean by that? They should most definitely release another handheld, because it would only appeal to their strategy as offering PlayStation as a service wherever you are, whenever you want it. But I don't think they should go about it the way they initially tried with Vita, whereas you offer a completely different experience that coexists with PS3 and has a little bit of connectivity. What I think they should do is take the PS4 experience and bring it to a handheld. Now, I know many people are looking at these patents that Sony filed back in 2014 saying, oh my gosh, it's a Switch ripoff. Sure, but I'm seeing reports that it was filed before the Switch, yada yada. I don't care. I'm just concerned about what Sony might try to do based on their strategy and business practices with PlayStation. While the patent shows detachable joysticks, I don't think they were meant to be used independently the way the Joy-Cons are on the Switch. I think the idea is this thing can be docked, and then you detach the joysticks, put them together, and then play your PlayStation Portable 3 or PS4 Go or whatever it is then. But, so basically it's meant to appeal to people that don't have PS4s that are more interested in handhelds, hence why I think they should use cartridges and go in that direction. But offer the same PlayStation 4 experience, basically a low-end PS4 that doesn't use PSVR, mind you. So imagine this, you have this handheld, and maybe it doesn't even have detachable sides, controllers. Maybe it has a dock that you can charge it with, but let's say you want to play your game, you're at home, and you want to use your handheld but play it on your TV. I imagine them using a wireless HDMI type of connector that you plug it into the TV and it connects to this dock that then connects to the handheld. That way you're sitting on your couch holding the handheld playing your games, but the the audio video is being piped to the television, sort of like the Wii U gamepad. That, I think, is the way Sony should do it. That way you don't have to have all this extra crap with you to play your games if you want to play them on a TV. Imagine like a little tiny little dock, like the one the Vita had, but has a Bluetooth or some sort of audio video wireless connector that can then connect to your TV, whether it be through HDMI and a USB port for power. That, I imagine, would be a more practical approach. That way you're not directly taking what the Switch is doing. And I think it would only make sense because I don't imagine Sony would want to allocate resources for a dedicated portable the way Nintendo does. And instead, I think it would be best if they pursued basically a PS Vita 2-ish machine, but it's more powerful, maybe a little bit bigger, so that way they can fit better hardware in there, have triggers, have clickable analog sticks, keep the touch screen, that way you can interact with the PS4 styles user interface, and the back touchpad. That way both of those two things maintain backwards compatibility with PS Vita titles. That's what my take is. That way this system can hypothetically still connect to PlayStation Now, PlayStation View, all these other PlayStation services, and play the same PS4 games that everyone else does, and hopefully it'll be based on, I imagine they would base it on another AMD Jaguar x86 architecture. That way Sony can approach developers and say, okay, Activision Blizzard, you've ported Overwatch to PS4 and PS4 Pro, put it on this PS4 portable, and we'll allow you to connect to the same users on PS4, and the handheld can connect with other players online or ad hoc. And that's the experience I would expect Sony to do, because it'd be cheaper, it'd be easier, and because the PS4 is so much more successful, it'd be successful by default. That way, users who buy PS4s that maybe aren't interested in the PS4 as a home console but like the library can get the same library on a handheld. And Sony should offer the cross-buy system the way they did with PS3 and Vita. You buy the PS4 game, you can get the Vita version if you want, or you can just go buy the dedicated cartridge for the handheld. That would be a smart approach. That way Sony can basically axe the PS3, axe the PS Vita as last generation products, and keep the PS4 family and include this portable as a part of the PS4 family. That way you have the portable PS4, the standard PS4, the more powerful PS4, and then PSVR, which works with 2 out of the 3 units. Makes sense? Let me know what you guys think about all this down there in the comment section. This is again my idea based on just me observing Sony and what they're trying to do with PlayStation as a brand and as a service. I don't see them ripping off the Nintendo Switch yet. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.